Welcome, dear friends, to a gentle journey through 140 softly glowing facts about Demon Slayer, the beloved story that began as a humble manga about loss, courage, and the quiet strength of the human spirit, and blossomed into an anime phenomenon cherished around the world. Tonight, we'll wander through the origins of the series, the creative heart of its author, the breathtaking artistry that shaped its battles and its breathing styles, the characters who became symbols of resilience, and the cultural impact of a tale that reminds us that even in the darkest forests, a single light can guide the way home. As we drift through these facts, we'll honor the warmth, the emotion, and the quiet humanity woven into a world where every sunrise feels like a promise. And as you settle into your space, allow your breath to soften. A slow inhale, a gentler exhale, letting your shoulders loosen, your thoughts unwind, and the quiet of the night rise gently around you. Let the world outside pause for a while as your body grows heavier, calmer, more at ease. And if you enjoy drifting through stories like this, you're welcome to subscribe and softly tell me where you're listening from tonight. Now, when you're ready, let us begin our peaceful walk through the very first facts of this world. Fact 1. In the quiet origins of Demon Slayer, before the vibrant colors of the anime or the sweeping music that would one day fill so many hearts, there was simply a story taking shape in the quiet dedication of its creator, Koyoharu Gotuje. This first fact drifts back to the earliest spark, a one-shot called Kagurigari, a prototype about a demon hunter wandering through the night. Its tone was darker, sharper, more shadowed, but within it lived the first gentle heartbeat of what would become Kimetsu no Yaiba. The world was not yet fully formed, but the essence, a lone figure facing the encroaching night, was already whispering its promise. As you listen, let the idea settle softly. Great stories often begin as quiet experiments, glowing faintly before they bloom. Fact 2. The title Kimetsu no Yaiba carries a poetic weight that often feels like a sigh in the dark. Translated loosely, it means blade of demon destruction, yet the phrase carries a deeper spiritual resonance in Japanese, a sense of a cursed edge, a destiny intertwined with sorrow, duty, and fate. English gave us the gentle simplification, Demon Slayer, but in its original language, the title feels like a charm, a talisman carried through time. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the stillness of a sword resting in its sheath, humming with the quiet burden of its name, waiting for the first breath of dawn. Fact 3. When the manga first began serialization in 2016, it was not an instant phenomenon. Its growth was a slow, steady flame, one that warmed readers quietly rather than roaring to life. Volume by volume, it gathered admiration like soft footsteps accumulating on a forest path. The world of Demon Slayer became a place readers returned to for emotion, not spectacle, a story about grief, treated with gentleness, about family bonds that refused to fade under the weight of tragedy. As you sink deeper into rest, let the thought drift. Sometimes the most meaningful creations are the ones that grow quietly, steadily, like lanterns glowing through fog. Fact 4. Tanjiro Kamado, the gentle soul at the center of the story, was intentionally crafted to be kind above all else. Gotuge once mentioned wanting a protagonist whose strength came not from fury or ambition, but from compassion that shimmered even in the face of despair. Tanjiro's softness, his steady voice, His empathy, the way he bows to fallen demons, was a deliberate contrast to the violence of the world he walked through. In your mind, picture him offering a small, respectful nod to the night, acknowledging even the sorrow of those he must face. His kindness is a reminder gentleness can be a form of courage. Fact 5. Nezuko's design began with a simple emotional desire to create a character who embodied both innocence and resilience. Her bamboo muzzle, her pink kimono, her quiet determination all arose from the idea of a girl who held onto her humanity even as darkness tugged at her. She was meant to feel like a warm ember in a cold wind. Gotouge wanted her to be a presence of calm and comfort, a character who radiated safety despite her altered state. Imagine her small frame curled softly in a wooden box, asleep like a candle sheltered from the storm. Fact 6. The breath styles, one of the most iconic elements of the series, were inspired not by fantasy martial arts, but by the calming rhythm of controlled breathing, something close to meditation. Gotouge has mentioned being fascinated by the idea that breath can change a person's strength, focus, and state of mind. While the anime visualizes these styles with flowing waves, petals, lightning, and mist, the manga originally left them invisible, like quiet techniques felt rather than seen. In the stillness of your own breath, slow in, slower out, you can feel the echo of this inspiration, the idea that power can arise from calm. Fact 7. Zenitsu Agatsuma, often seen trembling with fear, was always meant to be a reflection of a very human truth. Bravery is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward anyway. His strength awakens in moments when his mind slips into unconscious instinct, revealing a beauty and grace that contrast sharply with his anxious waking self. Gotouge hoped he would be a reminder that each person carries hidden depths, abilities that bloom when the mind quiets. Picture him now, resting beneath a tree, lightning sleeping beneath his skin like a storm waiting for a single breath to stir it. While Fact 8. Inosuke Hashibira's design came from the creator's unexpected affection for boars, creatures that often appear fierce but can also be tenderly protective. His wild demeanor, his instinctual nature, and his unpolished honesty were crafted to symbolize someone raised by the wind and the earth. But beneath his boar mask lies a surprisingly delicate face, a contrast that mirrors the theme of hidden softness beneath exterior strength. Imagine him in a quiet forest clearing, mask beside him, the night air brushing his hair as gently as a mother's hand. Even wild hearts have moments of stillness. Fact 9. The Hashira, the pillars of the Demon Slayer Corps, were designed to each represent a single emotion, distilled into personality and combat style. Flames, water, love, sound, stone, wind, serpent, mist, insect. Each breath technique reflects a feeling, a way of moving through the world. Their diversity was intentional, a tapestry of temperaments meant to show that strength comes in many shapes. Picture them standing beneath a star-heavy sky, each with their own presence, their own quiet glow. Like lanterns of differing colors, each Hashira lights the night in a unique hue, 6 of 10. Finally, a soft truth about the world of Demon Slayer. Despite the demons, the battles, and the tragedies woven into the story, Gotouge crafted the narrative around healing rather than destruction. Every arc returns to themes of closure, forgiveness, and release. Even defeated demons are given space for memories, for final tears, for the soft unraveling of their pain. The story is not about violence. It is about compassion reaching across the darkness. As you rest now, imagine the night itself exhaling, the world growing quieter, sorrow unwinding into something gentler, like snow melting under the first warm touch of spring. Fact 11. In the gentle beginnings of Demon Slayer's visual identity, Koyoharu Gotuch shaped the world using a blend of old Japanese aesthetics and soft, folkloric shadows. The setting is deliberately placed in the Taisho era, a period of transition when Japan stood between the quiet traditions of the past and the faint hum of modernity. This choice was not about historical accuracy, but about atmosphere, a time when streets were dimly lit by lanterns, when rural villages slept beneath the hush of mountain ranges, and when technology had not yet drowned out the softness of the natural world. As you imagine this era, let a slow quiet settle around you, like fog drifting through a silent town at dawn. Fact 12. The Taisho era clothing patterns, the checkered haori, the floral kimonos, the layered textures, were chosen to make each character feel warm and human, even in moments of danger. Tanjiro's green and black checkered pattern symbolizes growth, resilience, and the rhythm of nature, while Nezuko's pink kimono with geometric designs evokes innocence and quiet hope. These patterns were meant to be comforting to the viewer, like familiar fabrics passed down through generations. If you close your eyes, you can almost feel the gentle weight of those garments, the texture of cotton warmed by sunlight, the faint scent of a home long gone but never forgotten. Fact 13. One of the most soothing truths behind Demon Slayer's world building is the use of nature as both symbolism and refuge. Mountains, rivers, forests, and wind are woven into every corner of the story, not as backdrops, but as companions. The characters travel through landscapes that breathe with them, snowflakes drifting quietly along Tanjiro's path, warm breezes guiding Zenitsu's trembling steps, wild wilderness matching Inosuke's untamed heart. Gotoge often said that nature was meant to feel like a silent guardian in the story, a reminder that even in darkness, the world continues to hold gentle places. Imagine now the hush of a mountain path at twilight, the soft crunch of earth beneath your feet, the comfort of a world that listens. Fact 14. The water-breathing style, so deeply associated with Tanjiro, was inspired by the slow, rhythmic movements of traditional Japanese sword schools. Gotuji envisioned water not as a destructive wave, but as a calm, continuous flow, a reminder that persistence and softness can carve through even the hardest stone. The anime visualizes these techniques with shimmering arcs of blue, but their true essence lies in balance, control, and breath. When you breathe in slowly now, imagine a cool stream flowing through your chest. As you exhale, imagine that same stream smoothing the edges of your thoughts into quiet corners. Fact 15. Flame breathing, represented by Kyojuro Rengoku, carries a symbolism of unwavering optimism and inner warmth. Unlike aggressive fire imagery in other stories, Rengoku's flames were meant to feel bright, welcoming, almost like sunrise. His movements, his words, and his presence embody an inner glow rather than destruction. Gotuge described him as someone whose spirit illuminates others, much like the way a hearth can warm an entire home. As you sit with this image, picture a flame that does not burn but comforts, a gentle light flickering softly against the walls of a quiet room at night. Fact 16. Thunder breathing, the technique mastered by Zenitsu, draws from the idea of sudden clarity, a flash of brilliance in moments of overwhelm. While thunder suggests power, Gotuge shaped Zenitsu's style to reflect the beauty of a single moment of focus. His technique is not about fury, but about one pure, perfect breath. This is why his fighting form appears when he slips into unconsciousness. It represents the mind letting go, the body finding calm in stillness. Imagine a sky just before a storm breaks, holding its breath, waiting for the first quiet crackle of light. Fact 17 Beat. Breathing, unique to Inosuke, grew from the idea of instinctive living. His movements mirror the raw harmony of animals moving through forests, fleeting, intuitive, unbound by formality. While he appears impulsive, his breathing style is deeply connected to nature's rhythm. The rise and fall of leaves and wind, the swift dart of a creature through underbrush. Gyotuj wanted Inosuke to embody the untouched serenity of the natural world. Picture a forest at night, where every creature moves with purpose, yet the whole landscape remains softly alive, breathing slowly, like the earth itself is dreaming. Fact 18 Mist. Breathing used by Muchiro Tokito has one of the gentlest inspirations in the series. Its concept was rooted in the drifting of fog over distant hills, the way forms become hazy and the world softens at the edges. Tokito's personality mirrors that softness, dreamy, detached, quiet. His breath style evokes the feeling of waking from a long nap, not quite remembering where you are, but sensing a peaceful stillness around you. Imagine a morning where fog wraps the trees, a blanket that hushes every sound until the world feels like it's holding you. Fact 19. The Demon Slayer core uniform, simple, dark, practical, was intentionally designed to contrast with the bright individuality of each character's haori, or personal garment. The uniform represents duty, structure, and neutrality, while the haori symbolizes the personal warmth, history, and emotional identity each slayer brings into their journey. It's a visual reminder that even within the same role, every soul carries a different story. Envision those dark uniforms as a calm night sky, with each patterned haori like a star softly glowing against its surface. Fact 20. One of the most comforting facts about the series is that its emotional core was built around the belief that sorrow can lead to gentleness rather than bitterness. Gotuji stated that they wanted a world where characters processed grief by extending kindness, not surrendering to despair. This is why Tanjiro bows to demons, why Nezuko protects strangers, why the Hashira carry deep inner worlds beneath their roles. The series holds grief as something tender, something that shapes empathy like water shapes stone. As you let this thought settle, imagine your own sorrows dissolving softly, turning into something quieter, something that rests gently instead of weighing heavily. Fact 21. One of the quietest inspirations behind Demon Slayer is the idea of scent, a sense often overlooked in storytelling, yet deeply tied to memory and intuition. Tanjiro's heightened sense of smell was created to symbolize empathy, the ability to sense emotions, intentions, and even the threads of opening that reveal the truth of a moment. Gotuch wanted him to perceive the world gently through subtle cues carried on the wind. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a soft breeze drifting through cedar trees, carrying faint hints of earth, wood, and distant rain, the kind of delicate scents that help guide someone through darkness. Fact 22. The Nichiren blades, central to each demon slayer's identity, were inspired by metals that change color depending on heat and purity. Gotuji envisioned swords that reflected not only their wielder's training, but their inner essence, capturing the quiet metaphor that resilience and spirit can tint the tools we use. The colors were chosen for emotional resonance: a warm flame red, a gentle water blue, a thunderous yellow, a misty white. Imagine these blades lying side by side in a silent workshop, each glowing softly with its own breath of life, like candles flickering in different hues along a dark wooden table. Fact 23. The color red carries special symbolism in the series, drawn from traditional Japanese beliefs. Red is the color of life, vitality, and protection, often used in talismans to ward off evil. This is why the red blade, the red flame of Rengoku, and even the red eyes seen in certain characters hold a sense of spiritual warmth. Red in Demon Slayer is not violent. It is vibrant, pulsing like a heart that refuses to stop beating. Imagine a red thread tied gently around your wrist, a charm that warms with your pulse, reminding you that life is resilient even in the quietest moments. Fact 24. The 12 Kizuki, the most formidable demons beneath Muzan, were each designed with symbolic themes rather than brute danger. Gotouge wanted their stories to reflect emotional distortions: longing twisted into obsession, loneliness transformed into cruelty, fear hardened into desperation. Each demon's arc is a softened echo of grief, a reminder that even those who have fallen far once held something fragile inside. When you think of them now, imagine them not as creatures of terror, but as shadows shaped by old sorrows, finally dissolving when the dawn catches them. Fact 25. Ufotable, the animation studio behind the anime adaptation, chose to use traditional Japanese woodblock print motifs as visual inspiration, giving the series its distinctive textures. The flowing lines and water breathing, the flickering flames of Rengoku, and the patterned shock waves of sound breathing all echo ancient artistic traditions. These choices were made so the anime would feel timeless, a dreamlike blend of past and present. Picture an artist brushing ink onto parchment, each stroke slow and deliberate, the lines forming waves, petals, or sparks that look like they were pulled from the quiet of a centuries-old painting. Fact 26. The gentle glow of lanterns and lamps throughout the anime was a conscious artistic choice. Director Haruo Sotozaki requested that scenes feel illuminated, not by harsh modern light, but by warm, trembling sources: lanterns, flames, moonlight. This was meant to make the viewer feel wrapped in softness, even during tense moments. When you visualize the world of Demon Slayer, picture its lighting as gentle halos of gold drifting through darkness, like islands of warmth floating in a night that never quite becomes cold. Fact 27. One of the most subtle inspirations for Tanjiro's personality was the idea of furusato, a Japanese word that means hometown, not as a location, but as a feeling. It represents warmth, safety, and the memory of a life one longs to return to. Tanjiro embodies this sentiment: steady, comforting, familiar. He feels like a home one carries in the heart. Imagine him walking a forest path with a basket of charcoal on his back, humming softly, his presence as warm as sunlight filtered through leaves. That is the spirit of Furusato. Fact 28. Shinobu Kocho's design began with butterflies, which in Japanese culture represent souls, transformation, and ephemeral beauty. Her movements, light and silent, evoke the way butterflies drift without disturbing the air. Gotouge wanted her presence to feel soothing and calm, like a gentle breeze across a field of wildflowers. Her colors, lavender, soft purple, hints of mint, were chosen to evoke a healing stillness. Imagine a butterfly landing softly on your hand, its wings barely stirring the air, the moment so quiet it feels like holding a breath suspended in time. Fact 29. Gyu Tomioka, the water Hashira, embodies the emotional essence of still water, calm on the surface, yet carrying deep currents beneath. His silence, his restraint, and his understated sadness reflect the nature of lakes and rivers that hide their stories below their surface. Gatouge crafted him to be a figure of quiet observation, someone who feels deeply but expresses little. Picture a deep blue lake at dusk, its waters unmoving, its mysteries resting gently below. That is the presence Gyu carries wherever he walks. Fact 30. The iconic Hanafuda earrings worn by Tanjiro were inspired by traditional Japanese playing cards, known for their floral illustrations and seasonal symbolism. The rising sun design connects Tanjiro to a long lineage, suggesting heritage, memory, and the quiet continuation of traditions passed down through time. Gotouge intended these earrings to feel like a blessing, a small artifact carrying warmth and history. As you hold this image, imagine a pair of delicate wooden cards painted with red sunbursts lying in a quiet drawer, their colors softened by age, yet still glowing gently beneath the touch of morning light. Fact 31. The concept of breathing forms in Demon Slayer was partially inspired by traditional Japanese meditation practices, where breath is believed to anchor the spirit and steady the mind. Gotouge wanted each form, the flowing arcs of water, the gentle rise of mist, the steady glow of flame, to feel like an extension of a calm inner world rather than an outward display of force. In truth, every breathing technique is a quiet reminder that power begins with stillness. As you breathe now, slow and soft, imagine each inhale smoothing the rough edges of your thoughts and each exhale loosening tension the way water loosens sand. Fact 32. The subtle emotional bond between Tanjiro and Nezuko was crafted to reflect a universal kind of belonging, the feeling that no matter how far one wanders, there is a person whose presence is a home. Their shared quiet moments, the gentle pats on Nezuko's head, the steady way she follows him, were designed to feel like flickers of warmth in a world so often cold. Gotouge hoped their relationship would embody something soothing, a connection untouched by fear, strengthened by tenderness. Picture Tanjiro leaning gently against Nezuko's box at dusk, the calm of their trust drifting into the evening air. Fact 33. Kanao Tsuyuri's coin, the one she uses to make decisions, symbolizes the fragile balance between uncertainty and hope. Gotouge created her character to represent someone whose voice was once too quiet for the world, yet who slowly learns to let herself choose, act, and feel. The coin became a soft metaphor. When the weight of choice feels too heavy, even a small symbol of guidance can be comforting. Imagine that coin now, held gently between fingers, its surface cool and smooth, catching a sliver of moonlight as it turns, a tiny promise of direction in moments of doubt. Fact 34. The sound Hashira, Tengen Uzui, was inspired by the idea that flamboyance can hide deep serenity. His bright colors, bold movements, and striking presence were intentionally contrasted with a quiet inner purpose rooted in harmony. His sound breathing is not chaotic, but rhythmic, echoing drums, vibrations, and musical patterns. Gotouge wanted him to feel like a festival lantern, vibrant on the surface, but carrying an inner flame that burns gently and consistently. Picture him now beneath falling fireworks, each spark drifting softly, reflecting in his warm, unwavering eyes. Fact 35. The love Hashira Mitsuri Kanroji was designed to embody warmth, affection, and emotional openness in a world clouded by sorrow. Her strength comes from love, an emotion often overlooked in battle centered stories. Her pink and green colors, chosen for their softness, were meant to feel like springtime after a long winter, gentle and uplifting. Imagine her sitting beneath blooming cherry blossoms, the petals drifting like whispers through the air, her smile carrying the promise that even in dark worlds, tenderness lives on. Fact 36. Obanai Iguro, the serpent Hashira, was crafted around the image of winding rivers and quiet devotion. His reserved nature, his soft loyalty, and his symbolic snake Kabura Maru all reflect themes of patience and quiet observation. Gotuj envisioned him as someone who moves through life like a stream, careful, deliberate, flowing around obstacles instead of confronting them head on. Picture a narrow river snaking through rocks at dusk, its surface reflecting the fading sky, serene and steady. That is the emotional rhythm he carries. Fact 37. Sanemi Shinazugawa, the wind Hashira, embodies the bittersweet nature of wind itself. Fierce on the surface, but carrying a deeper undercurrent of grief and longing. His rough exterior masks a heart shaped heavily by loss, yet still capable of gentleness in fleeting, fragile ways. Gotuj wanted him to feel like an autumn gale, restless, cool, and stirring emotions one cannot fully name. Imagine leaves swirling in a sudden breeze, golden and weightless, carried in unpredictable patterns as the wind sighs through empty branches. Fact 38. Gyomei Himejima, the stone Hashira, represents spiritual grounding. His prayers, his tears, and his serene presence were meant to embody a soul deeply connected to inner stillness. Gotoche revealed that Gyomei was designed to feel like a temple bell, large, steady, resonant, and gentle in the way it carries sound across long distances. Even his breath style evokes solidity, permanence, and quiet endurance. Picture him standing beneath a soft rain, each drop tapping like a quiet chant against stone, his calm radiating like warmth from a quiet hearth. Fact 39. The blue spider lilies, one of the most mysterious symbols in Demon Slayer, were inspired by real flowers known in Japan as higanbana. Traditionally, they symbolize the boundary between life and death, blooming near graveyards or along paths believed to guide spirits. Gotuj used this flower not just as a plot element, but as a quiet metaphor for longing, distance, and the delicate line between what can be touched and what forever remains out of reach. Picture a field of these lilies blooming beneath a fading sun, their petals glowing softly like forgotten memories rising from the earth. Fact 40. Finally, one of the most comforting truths about the entire series is that its emotional rhythm was designed to mimic the softness of healing. The sorrow in Demon Slayer never seeks to overwhelm, it seeks to be understood. Every arc ends with release, demons finding peace, slayers finding connection, memories drifting like lanterns across a quiet river. Gotuji wanted sadness to feel gentle, like a hand resting softly on the heart, guiding it toward acceptance. As you breathe now, imagine all heavy thoughts dissolving into a warm twilight breeze, leaving you rested, grounded, and quietly safe. Fact 41. The soft, emotional core of Demon Slayer was shaped by Gotuja's belief that even the smallest kindness can echo across a lifetime. Many characters who appear only briefly still leave a gentle imprint on the story. The families who offer Tanjiro shelter on cold nights, the strangers who bow to Nezuko with quiet gratitude, the innocent souls who cross the paths of slayers just long enough to remind them of the world they fight to protect. These fleeting moments were intentionally placed as reminders that compassion often arrives, like a warm lantern held out in the dark. Imagine walking through a silent village at dusk, and one door opens just long enough for light to spill softly onto the road. That is the spirit of these tender encounters. Fact 42. The crow messengers of the Demon Slayer Corps carry symbolism rooted in ancient folklore. While crows in mythology can be ominous, here they represent guidance and vigilance. Gotuj drew inspiration from stories where crows serve as guardians and spiritual messengers, linking worlds with their watchful presence. Tanjiro's Kasugai crow, with its urgent calls and fluttering wings, is meant to feel like a companion rather than a tool, persistent, loyal, always overhead like a piece of the sky, keeping him safe. Imagine a crow perched on a wooden post at sunrise, feathers catching the first soft gold of morning light. Fact 43. The architecture throughout the series, wooden homes, shoji doors, lantern-lit hallways, draws inspiration from traditional Taisho-era rural life. Gotuj wanted the environments to feel familiar and intimate, like spaces where memories linger. The wooden floors creak softly, the paper screens glow with warm lamplight, and the tatami mats hold the gentle scent of woven grass. These details were meant to evoke stillness and nostalgia. Picture sliding open a paper door to find a quiet room filled with soft evening light, the air carrying a faint smell of warm tea and old wood. Fact 44. The demons' tragic backstories were included not as a way to justify their actions, but to show the fragile threads of humanity that remain even after transformation. Gotuj believed that sorrow becomes less frightening when understood, and that empathy can soften even the harshest narratives. This is why many demons are shown remembering warm childhood moments or simple dreams they once held. These glimpses are meant to evoke a sense of release, as if their pain dissolves the moment they are finally seen. Imagine a lantern floating down a river, carrying a forgotten story into the night, its flame trembling gently before fading. Fact 45. The motif of family appears again and again in the series, not only through blood relations, but through chosen bonds. The Slayers often find themselves forming quiet connections with one another, shared meals, careful bandaging of wounds, soft words spoken at the edge of exhaustion. Gotuj wanted these small moments to feel like blankets draped gently over tired shoulders, warmth offered freely, comfort shared without expectation. Picture the Slayers gathered around a low table, steam rising from bowls of soup, the atmosphere gentle and safe like a home found in unexpected places. Fact 46. The design of Muzan Kibutsuji, the central antagonist, was intentionally elegant rather than monstrous. Gotuge crafted him to appear calm, refined, even beautiful, a symbol of the idea that darkness often hides behind seemingly perfect surfaces. His appearance changes depending on his needs, but his presence is always quiet, cold, and controlled, like a winter night with no wind. This contrast was meant to amplify the story's emotional truth. Danger can be silent, subtle, almost delicate. Imagine standing in a still field beneath a moonless sky, the air unmoving, the darkness so soft it feels almost gentle. That is the texture of Muzan's quiet threat. Fact 47. The recurring theme of sun versus shadow is deeply rooted in Japanese symbolism. The sun represents life, clarity, and spiritual warmth, qualities embodied by Tanjiro's perseverance and Nezuko's gradual return to humanity. Shadows represent sorrow, fear, and unresolved longing. Gotouge wove these symbols throughout the narrative to create a rhythm between darkness and dawn. Every sunrise in the series is meant to feel like hope returning, quietly, inevitably. Picture the first golden rim of daylight peeking over mountains, washing the world in a warm, slow glow that chases away night without haste. Fact 48. The music composed for the anime by Yuki Kajiura and Go Shina was created using layers of soft percussion, traditional Japanese instruments, and choral harmonies designed to evoke a sacred, timeless feeling. The soundtrack was meant to wrap the viewer in atmosphere, swelling gently during emotional moments and receding into delicate stillness during reflective ones. Each note was chosen to feel like a breath, a whisper, or a lantern's glow. Imagine a single cello playing in a quiet wooden hall, its tones drifting upward like warm smoke toward the rafters. Fact 49. Butterflies, which appear often in the Butterfly Mansion and around the Kocho sisters, symbolize transition and healing. In Japanese tradition, butterflies can represent visiting spirits or the soul's gentle movement through phases of existence. Gotouche embraced these meanings to make the Butterfly Mansion feel like a sanctuary, a place of recovery where even the air seems to move softly. Picture white and violet butterflies drifting lazily through sunbeams, their wings catching the light in slow, tender motions, the entire scene quiet as a whispered prayer. Fact 50. One of the most peaceful creative choices in Demon Slayer is the way the story treats rest. After intense journeys or emotional trials, the characters often spend time recovering in tranquil environments, quiet rooms, sunlit gardens, soft futons, gentle conversations. Gotouge believed that healing deserves as much narrative attention as conflict. These scenes were written to feel like deep exhales, pauses where the world grows still and characters can simply breathe. As you imagine this now, picture lying beneath a soft quilt in a wooden room warmed by morning light, the window open just enough to let in a cool breeze that smells faintly of pine and fresh earth. Fact 51. The quiet, emotional pacing of Demon Slayer was intentionally guided by the rhythm of seasons. Gotouge often aligned story arcs with gentle shifts in nature, winter symbolizing hardship, spring representing healing, summer embodying growth, and autumn reflecting reflection or closure. These seasonal echoes were never meant to be overt. Instead, they subtly shaped the tone of each chapter, like a soft wind nudging the heart in a certain direction. Imagine leaves turning gold at the edges of a long journey, the air cool and steady, guiding weary travelers toward a moment of rest beneath a twilight sky. Fact 52. The water wheel technique, one of Tanjiro's earliest signature moves, was designed with circular motion to evoke the image of time repeating itself, hardship returning, lessons repeating until mastery is earned. Gotouge described it as a breath of inevitability, a form that symbolizes how healing and strength spiral gently inward before spiraling outward again. Picture a wooden mill wheel turning slowly beside a quiet river, its motion steady, unhurried, guided only by the soft flow of water. That calm, endless rhythm is the feeling Tanjiro carries into every battle. Fact 53. Kanai Kosho, Shinobu's older sister, was created to represent pure serenity, a presence so gentle it changes the atmosphere around her. Her character concept came from the idea of a warm breeze drifting through a garden at dusk, bringing peace simply by existing. Even in flashbacks, her voice feels like a lullaby, soft and slow, carrying a kindness strong enough to influence everything Shinobu later becomes. Imagine her standing beneath a wisteria tree, petals falling around her like quiet blessings, her smile soft enough to soothe even the heaviest heart. Fact 54. The significance of wisteria in the series comes from old folklore associating the flower with purification and protection. Wisteria blooms hang downward like cascading curtains, creating natural sanctuaries of pale purple. The Demon Slayer Corps adopted this plant as a symbol of the safety they offer, using it to create checkpoints, medicines, and quiet resting places free from fear. Picture walking beneath an archway of wisteria, blossoms swaying gently in the evening breeze, their fragrance drifting like a calming sigh across the air. That is the protective softness they represent. Fact 55. Even the way demons dissolve into ash was designed with emotional intention. Rather than leaving behind violence or horror, Gotuj wanted their final moments to feel peaceful, a release from suffering. Their bodies dissolve upward like smoke, carried away on the wind, as if finally becoming weightless after lifetimes of pain. This imagery was chosen to evoke closure instead of fear. Imagine exhaling slowly on a cold morning, watching your breath rise into the air, disappearing softly into the sky. That gentle vanishing is the feeling behind each demon's farewell. Fact 56. Sabito and Makomo, the two spirits who guide Tanjiro on Sagiri Mountain, were inspired by the idea that lost souls can still help shape the living. Gotuge envisioned them not as ghosts, burdened by regret, but as lingering warmth, memories strong enough to reach forward and offer guidance. Their presence is quiet, almost dreamlike, like voices carried on mist. Picture standing on a fog covered mountain path, hearing soft footsteps behind you, not frightening but comforting, as if the past itself is gently helping you move forward. Fact 57. Kagaya Ubuyashiki, the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps, was designed to embody calm leadership rooted in acceptance rather than authority. His voice is always soft, his movements unhurried, his expressions serene. Gotuge wanted him to feel like a lantern sheltered by the hands of time, a light that burns gently even as his body weakens. When he speaks, the air seems to grow still, as though his presence carries a quiet blessing. Imagine sitting beside a candle in a dark room, its flame steady and unwavering, illuminating the quiet corners of your heart. Fact 58. The mark that appears on certain demon slayers' bodies, known as the Demon Slayer mark, was inspired by the idea of awakening through adversity. Rather than a symbol of power, it represents a moment of inner transformation when the heart grows clear through pain. Gotuge designed these marks to look organic, like flowers blooming under pressure or flames rising through darkness. Picture a glowing pattern spreading gently across skin, like warm sunlight filtering through leaves, not harsh or burning, but radiant in a quiet, intimate way. Fact 59. The Infinity Train arc uses the metaphor of dreams to explore the softness of longing and memory. Gotuji intended the dream sequences to feel comforting at first, warm homes, familiar faces, peaceful moments, before revealing the quiet ache beneath them. These scenes were crafted to show that even the sweetest dreams can hold threads of sorrow when tied to loss. Imagine drifting into a dream where everything feels familiar, the colors soft, the air warm, footsteps echoing gently. Yet somewhere deep inside, you sense the faint tremble of something you must eventually wake from. Fact 60. Rengoku's mother, Ruka, appears only briefly in the story, yet her presence carries immense emotional weight. She was designed to embody grace, a woman whose gentle wisdom becomes the compass guiding Rengoku's purpose long after her passing. Her words, spoken calmly in warm sunlight, shape the core of his identity. Gotuji wanted her to feel like a memory that never fades, a soft voice echoing in a quiet room long after the speaker is gone. Picture her placing a reassuring hand on Rengoku's cheek, her touch warm and steady, like morning light settling softly across wooden floors. Fact 61. Tanjiro's earrings, those small Hanafuda talismans glowing softly beneath the sun, were not chosen for aesthetics alone. Gotuj envisioned them as symbols of generational continuity, a quiet inheritance passed through time, carrying warmth from one era into the next. Their rising sun motif reflects perseverance, clarity, and the promise of dawn. In many ways, they serve as Tanjiro's anchor, a soft reminder that he walks a path shaped by those who came before him. Imagine holding a small wooden charm warmed by the sun, its edges smooth from years of gentle touch, its presence calming like a memory that never leaves your heart. Fact 62. Muichiro Tokito's drifting nature was intentionally crafted to reflect the stillness of clouds and the forgetfulness of mist. His character embodies the quiet sadness of lost memories and the soft beauty of clarity returning. Gotuj designed him so his thoughts would float like mist over a valley, sometimes scattering, sometimes gathering, always moving with delicate, unhurried rhythm. When he begins to remember his past, those memories return like sunlight piercing through fog, warm and slow. Picture a morning sky where clouds part gradually, revealing gentle beams shimmering through the haze. Fact 63. The idea of demon blood arts was inspired by the concept of twisted blessings, abilities that once symbolized talent, creativity, or beauty in a demon's human life. Gotuj crafted each art to reflect an emotional truth connected to that past. Illusions for those who lived in fantasy, threads for those who clung to attachment, drums for those who sought order. These abilities are not just powers, but echoes of who they were. Imagine each art as a soft whisper from a forgotten self, drifting through time like a faint melody carried on the wind. Fact 64. Yushiro and Tamayo, the two demons who retained their humanity, were created to show that transformation does not always erase the heart. Gotuch designed their relationship to feel gentle, dignified, and rooted in mutual respect. Tamayo's soft voice and Yoshiro's quiet devotion embody a different side of demonhood, one shaped by compassion rather than hunger. Their home, filled with warm lamplight and fragrant herbs, serves as a sanctuary of calm within a troubled world. Picture sitting in that dim room as incense curls softly upward, creating patterns in the still air like drifting prayers. Fact 65. The symbolism of eyes throughout the series is intentional and deeply emotional. Gotuj often used eyes to reflect inner change, Tanjiro's steady kindness, Nezuko's shifting pupils as she resists darkness, Inosuke's wide animal brightness, Zenitsu's lightning-like clarity when unconscious. Demons' eyes often reveal what they lost: regret, longing, fractured identity. Eyes in this world are windows not only to the soul, but to the stories that shaped it. Imagine looking into a calm pond at twilight, seeing both your reflection and the sky above, two worlds meeting quietly in a single gaze. Fact 66: Giyu Tomioka's Haori, uniquely split into two patterns, holds one of the gentlest symbolic meanings in the series. One half comes from Sabito, the other from Sabito's sister, Tsutako. Giyu carries both patterns to keep their memories alive, a quiet tribute he never speaks aloud. Gotuge intended this garment to feel like a soft, continuous embrace from the past, a reminder that those we love remain woven into our lives. Picture a patchwork quilt, stitched with care, each piece infused with warmth from hands long gone, yet still comforting those who wrap themselves in it. Fact 67: Kanao Tsuyuri's soft transformation over the course of the story was inspired by the idea of a flower slowly learning to open. At first, she follows orders mechanically, her voice quiet and uncertain. Over time, she chooses, acts, and feels with increasing confidence, blooming gently under the warmth of love and companionship. Gotuge used floral imagery to shape her arc, especially cherry blossoms, which represent delicate yet powerful renewal. Imagine a garden where one closed bud finally stirs, unfolding petal by petal into the soft light of morning. Fact 68: Zenitsu's relationship with birds, especially sparrows, reflects his emotional nature. While others receive crows, Zenitsu receives a sparrow, a creature symbolizing humility, simplicity, and gentle perseverance. Gotuge intended Shuntaro to be a small embodiment of Zenitsu's true heart, timid at first glance, yet capable of fierce loyalty. The sparrow's fluttering wings are like Zenitsu's anxious breaths, quick and trembling, yet always returning to those he cares for. Picture a tiny sparrow resting on a windowsill at dawn, feathers ruffled softly by the morning breeze. Fact 69: The quiet resilience of Tanjiro's family, even in memory, serves as the emotional foundation of the entire story. Gotuge designed his mother and siblings to feel warm, gentle, and deeply human, a source of comfort that lingers in every decision Tanjiro makes. Their presence, though brief, is like the warmth of a hearth that never fully fades. Imagine a small cabin in a snowy forest, its windows glowing with soft orange light, the sound of laughter echoing faintly inside, a memory that stays with you long after you leave. Fact 70: One of the most soothing motifs in Demon Slayer is the repeated use of hands, holding, guiding, protecting. Hands are shown trembling, bleeding, comforting, resting, as reaching. Gotuji believed that hands tell stories words cannot. Tanjiro's hands show care, Nezuko's show restraint, Rengoku's show embrace, Shinobu's show healing. Hands throughout the series symbolize connection, the gentle passing of strength from one soul to another. Picture two warm hands meeting in the quiet of twilight, fingers interlacing softly, forming a silent promise that neither will face the night alone. Fact 71: The concept of smell of emotions, one of Tanjiro's unique abilities, was inspired by the poetic idea that human feelings have presence, subtle, invisible currents that move through the world like drifting fragrances. Gotuge wanted Tanjiro's empathy to be sensory, something that touches him in gentle waves. When he senses the smell of kindness, it's meant to evoke warm memories of his family. When he senses the scent of pain, it's like catching the faint aroma of rain before it falls. Imagine standing beneath a cedar tree as the wind shifts, bringing with it a soft, indescribable scent that stirs something deep within you, That is the feeling behind this quiet ability. Fact 72. The masks carved by Urokodaki are more than protective gear. They are gentle talismans shaped with affection. Each mask contains careful craftsmanship and personal intention. Sabito's fox mask, Mokomo's delicate symbol, and eventually Tanjiro's own mask are sculpted to ward off danger and carry blessings. In Japanese culture, foxes are guardians, but watchers at the borders between worlds. Gotuge wanted these masks to feel like silent protectors. Imagine holding a hand carved mask, still warm from the artisan's touch, smelling faint traces of cedar and lacquer, its expression calm and reassuring. Fact 73. The drum demon Kyogai, with his rotating rooms, was inspired by the quiet rhythm of traditional taiko drums. His blood art, while unsettling, symbolized the longing of a once talented musician who lost confidence and self worth. Gotuge didn't want his story to be frightening, only sorrowful in a gentle way, like a melody overlooked. When Kyogai hears Tanjiro praise his writing, it becomes a moment of release. Picture an old drum resting in a quiet corner of a wooden room, its surface worn, waiting for one final, respectful touch to acknowledge the music it once carried. Fact 74. The Butterfly Mansion represents the softest heartbeat of the series, a place where gentle healing is treated with reverence. Its hallways glow with warm light, its gardens rustle with delicate wind, and its caretakers move with slow, intentional grace. Gotuji designed it as an emotional sanctuary, a place where characters can breathe deeply and let their bodies and hearts mend. Imagine lying beneath white sheets in a quiet room with open windows, the scent of herbs drifting gently through the air, each breath deepening your sense of calm. Fact 75. The character of Rui, with his webs shimmering in the moonlight, was shaped around the idea of fragile, broken bonds. His threads, though sharp and deadly, represented his longing for connection, twisted into something painful. Gotuge gave him a pale, calm design to make him appear almost ghost-like, a child frozen in longing. The tragedy of his arc was meant to feel like watching snow fall onto a lonely forest, beautiful yet tinged with sadness. Imagine a pale moon shining through tangled branches, illuminating threads that sway like forgotten lullabies. Fact 76. Nezuko's shrinking ability was created to symbolize adaptability and innocence, the idea that her heart adjusts, softens, and expands based on the world around her. Gotuge wanted her to feel light, almost spirit-like, when she curls inside her wooden box. This visual was inspired by small animals sleeping safely in burrows or nests, protected by darkness and warmth. Picture a small creature curled softly in a hollow tree, breathing slowly, safely surrounded by the gentle shapes of nature. That is the essence behind Nezuko's quiet transformation. Fact 77. Insect. Breathing Shinobu's technique is one of the most poetic forms in the series. It emphasizes delicacy, precision, and subtlety rather than force. Her movements resemble the flutter of butterfly wings, the whisper of petals brushing together, the soft glide of a dragonfly over water. Gotuge intended this breathing style to feel like a sigh, gentle but purposeful, beautiful but potent. Imagine watching a tiny butterfly land on a flower, its wings trembling softly, yet carrying the quiet determination to survive and move forward. Fact 78. The moon-breathing techniques used by Kokushibo were drawn from the symbolism of the moon itself, ever-changing, watchful, filled with silent melancholy. Gotuge crafted his slashes to resemble crescent arcs, full moons, and shifting lunar patterns. This was meant to evoke a sense of passage, cycles, in the way light waxes and wanes. Kokushibo's sadness mirrors the moon's distant glow. Beautiful, unreachable, quietly mournful. Imagine a full moon hanging in a dark sky, bathing a quiet field in pale silver light, steady yet sorrowful. Fact 79. The flame, Hashira's delicious bento boxes, a small detail often overlooked, were crafted intentionally to show Rengoku's warmth and joyful spirit. Food in Demon Slayer often symbolizes comfort and care. Tanjiro's grilled fish, Zenitsu's love for home cooked meals, Inosuke's wild foraging, all were written to ground the story in the gentle rituals of nourishment. Rengoku's hearty appetite, expressed with soft enthusiasm, was meant to make him feel radiant and comforting, like a source of energy for everyone around him. Imagine steam rising from a wooden lunchbox, the aroma warm and homey, creating a simple happiness that fills the room. Fact 80. The thread of destiny, the invisible line Tanjiro senses in battle, symbolizes clarity emerging from chaos. Gotuge created this motif to represent the moment when confusion dissolves and one can suddenly see the path forward. It mirrors life, a moment of understanding that arrives quietly after long uncertainty. This opening thread is not a power, but a feeling, a soft alignment of breath, instinct, and purpose. Imagine a tangled ball of yarn suddenly falling into a single, smooth line, illuminated gently in the glow of candlelight. That moment of silent clarity is what Tanjiro experiences. Fact 81. The gentle motif of returning home threads through Demon Slayer like a quiet breeze guiding characters back to themselves. Tanjiro's longing for the warmth of his family home, the wooden floors, the soft crackle of the hearth, the smell of pine in the winter air, shapes every step he takes. Gotuji intended this longing to feel universal, a memory of a place where laughter once drifted softly through small rooms. Even after tragedy, the idea of home becomes a lantern he carries within. Imagine the faint glow of a cabin in the mountains, smoke rising lazily from its chimney, promising warm soup, gentle voices, and safety after a long, cold journey. Fact 82. The Hashira meetings, though often solemn, were crafted to feel like gatherings of deeply interconnected souls rather than rigid councils. Gotuge designed their interactions with a sense of old familiarity, people who share burdens, memories, and unspoken understanding. Even their disagreements carry quiet emotional weight. Picture a group of lanterns arranged in a circle, each glowing in a different hue, illuminating the same silent room from different angles. That is how the Hashira were envisioned, unique lights, softly overlapping, creating a warm but fragile constellation. Fact 83. The use of traditional Japanese patterns in clothing, waves, clouds, roses, scales, and geometric motifs was carefully chosen to reflect each character's emotional rhythm. Gyu's wave patterns echo his calm, steady nature. Shinobu's butterfly patterns evoke delicate beauty. Zenitsu's lightning triangles mirror his sharp, sudden bursts of clarity. These designs were meant to breathe silently alongside their wearers, shaping the mood of every scene. Imagine fabrics swaying gently on a clothesline at dusk, each pattern catching the fading light in its own gentle way. Fact 84, the gentle bond between Inosuke and Tanjiro, was written to show that even wild hearts soften when shown kindness. Inosuke's transformation is emotional rather than dramatic. Small, barely noticeable shifts in posture, tone, and silence. Gotouge intended him to be like a stray animal, slowly learning trust, warming to quiet moments of friendship. Picture a boar standing beside a still lake, watching its reflection ripple softly, beginning to recognize not only its own face, but the faces of those who stand beside it. Fact 85: the demon siblings, Gyutaro and Daki, were created as a symbolic mirror to Tanjiro and Nezuko, two pairs of siblings shaped by suffering, walking opposite paths. Their story, though dark, was meant to evoke a quiet ache rather than fear, showing how despair can distort love when hope fades. Their final moments together were crafted as a gentle release, a soft return to the essence of who they were. Imagine two shadows dissolving into warm light, their hands finally reaching for each other without trembling. Fact 86: the red spider lily, long searched for in the story, also symbolizes ephemeral beauty, something breathtaking, rare, and impossible to grasp when desired most. Gotouge chose this flower for its quiet melancholy, its blooming season short and elusive. It stands for moments in life that appear only once, then drift away with time. Picture a single bright lily growing at the edge of a forest, its petals glowing like a sunset captured in delicate form, swaying gently in the evening wind. Fact 87: the softness of sleep, a recurring image in Demon Slayer, was intentionally woven into the narrative to symbolize safety, healing, and vulnerability. Nezuko's long slumbers, Zenitsu's unconscious awakening of strength, and the peaceful rest characters find after hardship all reflect the idea that sleep restores the spirit. Gotouge viewed sleep as a form of sanctuary, a place where souls drift through dreams, like boats floating on calm water. Imagine lying beneath a warm blanket as night settles quietly around you, the world fading to gentle dark as your breath deepens and slows. Fact 88: the breathing forms were crafted with poetic names to evoke emotion and imagery rather than physical technique. Blessed rain after the drought, constant flux, whirling serpent, dance of the fire god. Each name was designed to carry softness, mystery, and quiet beauty. Gotouge wanted every form to feel like a small poem whispered into the night. Picture writing a single delicate line of verse with a brush dipped in ink, the strokes flowing gracefully across the page like water meeting wind. Fact 89: the subtle humor in the series, gentle, warm, never harsh, was included to balance sorrow with light. Scenes of Zenitsu's dramatic reactions, Inosuke's curious misunderstandings, or Tanjiro's overly sincere compliments were created not for loud laughter, but for small smiles. Gotouge wanted these moments to feel like fireflies drifting through a dark forest, fleeting glimmers of light offering comfort along a heavy path. Imagine a soft chuckle shared between friends sitting beside a campfire, the flames reflecting in their eyes as the night grows calm. Fact 90: the distant mountains that appear throughout the story, Sagiri Mountain, Natagamo Mountain, the mountain surrounding the Ubuyashiki estate, each symbolize stages of emotional ascent. Mountains are places of training, trial, clarity, and revelation. Gotouge viewed them as thresholds between the life a character once knew and the person they are becoming. Imagine standing at the base of a vast mountain at dawn, clouds wrapped gently around its peak, knowing that somewhere above, beneath the rising light, your next quiet transformation waits to unfold. Fact 91: the rhythm of walking, the soft shuffle of feet across dirt paths, wooden floors, and stone steps is one of the quietest motifs in Demon Slayer. Gotuj wove it through the story to symbolize steady perseverance, the gentle courage of taking one more step even when the heart is tired. Tanjiro's footsteps, always calm and deliberate, were drawn from the idea of a traveler who carries hope like a small ember sheltered in both hands. Imagine hearing those footsteps now, approaching slowly along a mountain path at twilight. Not hurried, not strained, but peaceful and sure, like a lullaby carried on the earth. Fact 92. The imagery of snowfall, appearing during emotional turning points, was chosen for its soothing stillness. Snow muffles the world, softening sound and sight, creating a sense of quiet introspection. When Tanjiro trains under falling snow, when memories unfold beneath winter skies, or when the world grows pale and silent, Gotuj uses snow as a gentle reminder that even cold seasons offer softness. Picture snowflakes drifting down through the branches of tall pine trees, each one melting quietly upon your skin like a fleeting touch of calm. Fact 93. The concept of threads of fate, which Tanjiro senses during combat, was inspired by ancient beliefs that invisible strings connect souls, choices, and moments in time. Gotuj wanted these threads to feel fragile yet purposeful, like the delicate lines of a spider web catching early morning dew. They symbolize connection, understanding, and the quiet instant when truth reveals itself. Imagine reaching out into darkness and feeling a faint, warm thread between your fingertips, a guide leading you gently toward clarity. Fact 94. The soft glow of candlelight is often used in the series to illuminate intimate moments, quiet conversations, silent memories, reflections shared between friends. Gotuj favored candlelight over harsh lighting because it casts gentle, trembling shadows, creating an atmosphere of safety and contemplation. Picture sitting in a small wooden room lit by a single candle, its flame flickering with each breath of wind, its glow warming the corners of the room like a whispered reassurance that night is gentle, not frightening. Fact 95. The use of water as a recurring symbol in rivers, tears, rain, and breathing forms was inspired by the belief that water cleanses emotional weight. Gotuji wanted water to carry sorrow away, like a slow moving stream carrying fallen leaves toward distant oceans. Tanjiro's water techniques echo this idea. They begin with a breath, rise with intention, and end with release. Imagine standing beside a quiet river at dusk, watching ripples move outward in soft, widening circles, each one carrying a fragment of worry away from you. Fact 96. The motif of lanterns drifting across water, seen in both the manga and anime, symbolizes the passing of souls and the continuation of stories beyond sorrow. This image was inspired by traditional Japanese festivals where tiny lights are set afloat as gentle farewells or blessings. Gotuj used lanterns to evoke a sense of peace, the idea that memories do not vanish, but drift softly into the night. Picture a calm lake reflecting the moon, small lanterns floating like golden stars upon its surface, each carrying a wish whispered into the dark. Fact 97. The quiet companionship between Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke was designed to feel like the slow forming of family. Their bond does not erupt into existence. It grows gradually through shared meals, exhausted laughter, small kindnesses, and silent understanding. Gotuji wanted their friendship to feel like three candles placed close together, their flames leaning gently toward one another in the still air. Imagine the warmth of sitting beside friends after a long day, the conversation low, the fire crackling softly, the night settling around you like a comforting blanket. Fact 98. The motif of doors, sliding open, sliding shut, plays a subtle role in shaping emotional transitions in the series. A door opening often symbolizes a new path or a moment of healing. A door closing marks rest, safety, or transformation. Each soft wooden clack carries meaning. Gotouge drew inspiration from the calming sound of shoji doors in quiet homes. Imagine standing in a corridor, lit by warm lanterns, sliding open a paper door to reveal a peaceful room where the world feels slower, gentler, more forgiving. Fact 99. The presence of birds, crows, sparrows, cranes, reflects the series' connection to nature's quiet guidance. Birds appear during transitions, the crow calling slayers to action, the sparrow offering companionship, cranes gliding overhead during contemplative scenes. Gotouge used birds as symbols of messages, movement, and the soul's upward longing. Imagine a small bird landing on a branch at dawn, shaking the dew from its feathers, chirping softly into the cool morning air, a reminder that even in difficult times, life continues with a delicate, hopeful rhythm. Fact 100. Perhaps one of the softest truths woven into Demon Slayer is the idea that every character, no matter how brief their appearance, carries a gentle story worth hearing. Gotouge filled the world with quiet humanity. Farmers tending fields at sunrise, children running through snowy paths, travelers pausing to rest beneath lantern light. These small glimpses were meant to make the world feel alive, tender, and worth protecting. Imagine walking through a peaceful village at night, warm lights glowing through shoji doors, distant voices murmuring softly, and somewhere nearby, a kettle humming on a hearth. A world where every ordinary life holds quiet beauty. Fact 101. The gentle motif of carrying burdens together appears throughout Demon Slayer in quiet, almost unspoken ways. Tanjiro often takes on physical weight, Nezuko's box, injured allies, fallen comrades, as a symbol of emotional weight shared. Gotouge shaped these scenes to express that sorrow becomes lighter when held with care. Every time Tanjiro lifts someone, the moment is drawn softly without strain, as though kindness itself strengthens his arms. Imagine lifting a small child who rests their head against your shoulder, breathing softly, the warmth of connection making the load feel almost weightless. Fact 102. The sound design in the anime carefully mimics the natural world. Rustling leaves, distant streams, soft wind brushing through tall grass. These ambient layers were intentionally mixed to create a sense of calm even during dramatic moments. The goal was to make every environment feel alive and soothing, like a deep breath taken outdoors. Picture standing on a gentle hillside as wind glides across the landscape, stirring wildflowers in a slow, sweeping motion, the world around you humming with quiet life. Fact 103. The emotion of gratitude is woven deeply into the story's fabric. Characters bow often, thank softly, and express appreciation even in the midst of adversity. Gotouge wanted gratitude to serve as a steady rhythm beneath the narrative, a reminder that tenderness can exist even in hardship. Tanjiro's habit of thanking strangers, allies, even enemies reflects a heart that recognizes the value of every moment shared. Imagine bowing your head slightly to someone who helped you in a small way, feeling a warm ripple of connection pass between your hearts like sunlight crossing a wooden floor. Gualuano 4. The quiet symbolism of bamboo, seen in Nezuko's muzzle and in many forest scenes, was chosen for its qualities of flexibility, resilience, and purity. Bamboo bends with the wind but does not break. It holds strength in its calm, hollow core. Gotuj used bamboo to represent Nezuko's inner tranquility and the unbroken bond she shares with Tanjiro. Imagine a bamboo grove at sunset, the tall stalks swaying gently in golden light, their rustling sounding like soft whispers carried across years. Fact 105: the way light filters through trees in the anime, those soft, dappled patches on clothing and hair, was inspired by the peaceful sensation of walking through a forest in early morning. Ufotable animators carefully layered these effects to evoke serenity. The intention wasn't simply visual beauty, but emotional grounding. Picture walking beneath tall branches as sunlight breaks through in gentle rays, warming your face, the shadows dancing lightly on the path like the softest welcome from nature. Fact 106: the Infinity Castle was designed to feel like a living dream. Shifting corridors, floating panels, stairways that twist into endless space. But instead of creating fear, Gotuge wanted the castle to feel like a surreal, echoing interior of Muzan's soul, a place full of emptiness, silence, and disconnection. The stillness of the castle, the faint clatter of biwa strings, the floating rooms, all evoke loneliness rather than terror. Imagine standing inside a vast, dim hall where your footsteps echo far away, the air cool and unmoving, like a memory that cannot find its way home. Fact 107: the katanas of the Demon Slayer Corps are always drawn with reverence, not as weapons, but as extensions of will and spirit. Gotuj believed that each blade should feel like a living companion, shaped by the breath and heart of its wielder. When a sword breaks, the moment is treated like a gentle farewell. Imagine holding a cherished item, a keepsake, a letter, a small carved object, and knowing it carries your history within it. That is how the Slayers feel about their blades, each motion a whisper of devotion. Fact 108: the Ubuyashiki family's home, quiet, simple, surrounded by pale wisteria, was designed as a haven, untouched by the world's cruelty. Every scene inside their residence feels slow, hushed, reverent. Gotuj crafted this space to reflect Kagaya's spirit, gentle leadership expressed through patience and compassion rather than commands. The rooms are framed by open shoji doors, letting breezes flow. Imagine sitting on a veranda overlooking a garden of wisteria, petals falling slowly, the air filled with soft fragrance and deep, peaceful quiet. Fact 109: Obanai's serpent, Kaburamaru, embodies the quiet loyalty of animals in the story. Gotuge intentionally wrote animals as calm presences: sparrows, boars, crows, snakes, each reflecting the emotional world of its companion. Kaburamaru's slow movements and soft watchfulness mirror Obanai's protective heart. In Japanese symbolism, snakes can represent regeneration and hidden wisdom. Imagine a gentle serpent coiled beside a warm hearth, breathing slowly, its scales catching the light like ripples on water. Fact 110: the recurring image of characters watching the sky, sunsets, starry nights, drifting clouds, was included to symbolize longing, reflection, and connection to loved ones lost. Gotuj used the sky as a quiet bridge between the present and memory. When characters look upward, the moment often carries warmth rather than sorrow, as though the heavens hold the stories of everyone who has ever dreamed, hoped, or loved. Picture lying on a grassy hill at night, looking up at stars scattered like soft embers across the dark, the air cool, your breath slow, your heart gently settling. Fact 111. The motif of voices carried on the wind appears throughout Demon Slayer as a quiet symbol of connection across distance. Gotuj often illustrated memories, promises, and final words as if they drifted gently on evening breezes. When Tanjiro recalls his family, the scene is drawn with soft wind brushing through pine branches, as though their voices still linger gently in the air. This imagery was chosen to remind readers that love is not bound by time or place. It moves like wind, unseen but felt. Imagine standing atop a hill at dusk, a light wind sweeping past your cheeks, carrying with it the faint warmth of voices you once knew. Fact 112. Shinobu's gardens at the Butterfly Estate are filled with herbs chosen for their calming properties: mint, lavender, wisteria, and subtle wildflowers. Though not explicitly labeled in the manga, the atmosphere was shaped to feel medicinal and serene, like a place where the earth itself is healing. Gotuja wanted the estate to invoke the sensation of lying in a quiet field where the scent of flowers softens the weight of the heart. Picture walking barefoot across cool grass, each step releasing a whisper of fragrance that settles in the air like a tender lullaby. Fact 113. The wind breathing techniques used by Sanemi Shinazugawa were inspired by the shifting tempers of the wind itself, sometimes harsh, sometimes steady, often unpredictable, but always moving with purpose. Yet beneath Sanemi's fierce motions, Gotuj embedded a deep, tender grief, the wind's quiet mourning for what was lost. His slashes, though sharp, carry emotional echoes of longing and love. Imagine standing on a cliff overlooking the sea, the wind brushing past you in a way that feels almost like a hand reaching out, firm yet filled with unspoken sadness. Fact 114. The crow who serves Rengoku speaks in an overly formal manner, a contrast chosen intentionally to reflect the warmth and charisma of its master. Each crow's voice was written to subtly mirror the emotional world of its assigned slayer. Rengoku's crow speaks like a storyteller, announcing heroic feats, echoing his vibrant spirit. Tanjiro's crow speaks with urgency and devotion. Zenitsu's sparrow chirps in earnest, trembling tones. Imagine a bird perched on a branch at dawn, its voice carrying soft notes shaped by its affection for the one it follows. Fact 115. The glowing blue sword Tanjiro wields in certain moments represents not power, but acceptance, the moment when heart and breath align perfectly with purpose. Gotuj used color shifts in blades to symbolize emotional awakening rather than raw strength. Blue was chosen for its calmness, its association with water, clarity, and sincerity. Picture a blade glowing faintly in moonlight, its surface cool and serene, reflecting the inner stillness of a heart that has found its way. Fact 116. The Heishira training arc was crafted not as a violent test, but as a meditation on growth. Each training session focuses on breath, posture, balance, or endurance. Small, repetitive motions meant to quiet the mind as much as strengthen the body. Gotuj based this structure on traditional training philosophies that emphasize humility and persistence. Imagine repeating a slow, steady movement under a warm sun, your breath deepening, your thoughts quieting, the world narrowing to the gentle rhythm of your own heartbeat. Fact 117. Mitsuri Kanroji's unusual physical strength was given a soft narrative explanation. Her muscles are dense, yet flexible, like ribbons woven tightly but moving fluidly. Rather than presenting this as fierce power, Gotouge framed it as love made strength. The idea that warmth, affection, and openness can forge resilience. Mitsuri's attacks, though bright and sweeping, always carry the gentle grace of a dancer. Imagine a ribbon swirling through the air, shimmering in pastel colors, strong enough to catch wind, yet soft enough to move with it. Fact 118: Genya Shinazugawa's ability to consume demon flesh was created to symbolize the lengths someone will go to protect those they love. His gift is unsettling on the surface, yet Gotouge wrote it with undertones of devotion rather than horror. Genya's silence, his trembling efforts, and his longing to be acknowledged mirror the struggles of those who feel overlooked, yet still strive to help. Imagine a young sapling growing in rocky soil, pushing through with determination, despite the shadows surrounding it. Fact 119: The presence of waterfalls, especially those used during training, was chosen for their calming symbolism. In Japanese culture, waterfalls represent clarity, purification, and renewal. When Tanjiro stands beneath a crashing waterfall, he is not enduring pain. He is shedding doubt, clearing his spirit, and aligning his breath with nature. The scene is meant to feel cleansing rather than harsh. Imagine cool water cascading over your shoulders, washing away the dust of long travel, leaving you refreshed and weightless beneath the open sky. 120. The bittersweet memory of Tanjiro's father performing the Hinokami Kagura dance under falling snow is one of the most emotionally iconic images in the series. Gotouge intended this moment to feel like a dream half remembered, a soft, sacred ritual carried out beneath the quiet hush of winter nights. The dance, slow and graceful, is illuminated by the warm glow of fire, contrasting the cold world around it. Imagine watching someone you love dance beneath a snowfall, their motions serene and fluid, each breath releasing warmth into the night like a gentle offering. Fact 121. The motif of firelight in winter appears throughout Demon Slayer as a symbol of hope enduring the coldest moments of life. Gotouge often placed warm flames, lanterns, hearths, festival fires, or the gentle glow of the Hinokami Kagura against snowy or chilled settings to create a soft, emotional contrast. Fire, in this world, is never harsh. It is comforting, steady, a reminder that warmth can survive even in the deepest cold. Imagine stepping into a small wooden cabin after walking through falling snow, the gentle crackle of a fire greeting you with a golden glow, warming your palms as you breathe slowly and feel your heart settle. In fact 122, Kokushibo's haunting beauty was shaped around the melancholy of a man who became lost between moonlight and shadow. Gotouge designed his appearance: long flowing hair, quiet eyes, and a body marked with moon patterns, to evoke the feeling of looking at the moon through thin clouds, mysterious, distant, and tinged with yearning. His entire presence feels like a single, drawn out breath beneath a pale sky. Imagine standing alone in a moonlit field, the world silent, your shadows stretching gently across soft grass as clouds drift slowly overhead. Fact 123. The gentle way time passes in the story was intentional. Gotouge wanted the narrative to feel like a slow turning season rather than a rapid succession of battles. Days melt into nights, journeys stretch across quiet landscapes, and characters often rest under open skies or beside flickering lamps. This pacing creates a meditative rhythm, allowing sorrow and healing to breathe naturally. Imagine sitting on a porch as the sun dips low, watching the sky shift from orange to lavender, time flowing gently around you like a stream that never rushes. Fact 124: Tanjiro's scar, which evolves as he grows, was inspired by the concept of change carried on the skin. Gotouge wanted his mark to reflect both heritage and transformation. At first, it is rough, raw, and simple, symbolizing hardship. As his journey deepens and his heart matures, it shifts into something more elegant, almost flame like, representing inner awakening. Imagine tracing your fingers softly over the worn surface of a carved wooden charm, feeling its grooves tell a story of both past pain and gentle endurance. Fact 125: The emotional world of Kyojuro Rengoku was designed around the warmth of sunlight. Everything about him, his smile, his voice, his laughter, his encouragement, radiates like dawn breaking through night. Gotouge wanted Rengoku to feel like the embodiment of morning, bright, steady, promising. Even his quiet moments carry a glow. Picture sunlight streaming through bamboo blinds, warming the floor, illuminating dust particles floating gently, a simple warmth that fills the heart without effort. Fact 126: Uzui Tengen's sound breathing techniques were shaped from the beauty of percussion rhythms, not the violence of explosions. His resounding slashes were crafted to feel musical, like drums echoing in distant valleys or ceremonial beats guiding dancers. Gotouge intended his combat style to evoke festival nights filled with lanterns and laughter, not conflict. Imagine standing at the edge of a traditional celebration, hearing rhythmic drums rolling like waves, their deep vibrations moving gently through your chest. Fact 127: The faint presence of incense, though subtle, appears in several scenes and locations associated with healing or memory. At the Butterfly Mansion, in Tamayo's home, and in certain quiet moments of reflection, the gentle curl of incense symbolizes cleansing and remembrance. Gotouge used it to create a sense of spiritual calm, like a prayer drifting upward. Imagine lighting a thin stick of incense in a quiet room, its fragrance warm and sweet, the smoke forming soft spirals that fade into the stillness. Fact 128: The trains in Demon Slayer represent transition, movement from one emotional chapter to the next. The Infinity Train, in particular, was designed to symbolize the passage between dreams and reality, consciousness and rest. Its rhythmic clatter, soft lantern glow, and rocking motion create a lullaby like sensation. Gotouge wanted the train to feel like a moving dream, carrying characters toward revelation. Imagine sitting by a train window at night, the world passing in gentle swaths of blue and gold, the steady rattling soothing you into drowsiness. Fact 129: Tanjiro's gentle habit of bowing deeply, sometimes even to enemies, is one of the softest acts in the story. Gotouge designed this gesture to represent humility, respect, and the belief that every soul, no matter how lost, once held warmth. His bows are slow, heartfelt, and sincere, reflecting gratitude or sorrow. Imagine bowing your head slightly in the quiet of evening, the gesture itself a soft exhale, acknowledging the weight of all you have learned and all you hope to become. Fact 130: One of the quietest threads woven into the story is the idea that grief is not an enemy, but a guide. Characters often speak to their past, remember loved ones, or carry small mementos that anchor them gently. Gotouge believed that grief softens over time, becoming understanding rather than pain. This belief appears in the way the dead are remembered with tenderness. A quiet nod, a whispered name, a glance toward the sky. Imagine sitting beside a river at dusk, recalling someone you miss, and feeling not sorrow, but a gentle warmth spreading outward from your chest, like ripples expanding across water. Fact 131. The motif of soft footsteps in empty rooms appears subtly throughout Demon Slayer, often marking moments of reflection or transition. Gotouge used this quiet imagery to evoke the loneliness of old memories wandering through places once filled with life. When Tanjiro steps into empty homes, abandoned halls, or silent hideaways, the sound of his feet is drawn tenderly, as though he is walking through the echoes of those who came before him. Imagine entering an old wooden house at dusk, the air thick with the scent of pine and dust, your footsteps whispering gently across the floorboards, reminding you that silence can hold stories just as deeply as sound. Fact 132. The colors chosen for Nezuko's palette, as soft pinks, warm reds, and deep blacks, were selected to symbolize both innocence and resilience. Pink represents her purity and gentle heart. Red carries themes of life, vitality, and spiritual strength, and black reflects the shadows she must navigate. Together, these colors form a harmony designed to soothe the viewer, much like a sunrise rising behind a silhouette of dark mountains. Imagine a soft pink dawn spreading slowly across the horizon, warming the world inch by inch, the sky glowing with quiet promise. Fact 133. The quiet respect Slayers show toward fallen demons, especially Tanjiro, was inspired by ancient beliefs that death should be met with dignity, regardless of one's past. Gotouge crafted scenes of demons remembering their humanity with great tenderness, siblings reunited in fading light, lost children reaching for warmth, forgotten dreams resurfacing for one final moment. These scenes were shaped to feel like forgiveness, drifting gently through the air, settling softly on all involved. Imagine a candle burning low at night, its flame flickering weakly before extinguishing, not with violence, but like a sigh returning to the dark. Fact 134. The motif of hands reaching through darkness appears in several emotional arcs. Whether it's Tanjiro reaching for Nezuko, Kanao's hand lifting her coin, or even demons recalling loved onesies, the gesture symbolizes hope, moving gently across despair. Gotouge used hands as bridges, small, trembling symbols of connection. Imagine two hands meeting beneath a fading sky, fingertips brushing softly, forming a silent agreement that neither will face the night alone. Fact 135. The bird song that gently opens many scenes in the anime was designed to evoke the quiet beginning of a new day. Even after sorrow or loss, morning arrives softly, indifferent to the night's struggles, yet offering its warmth freely. Gotouji appreciated how birds, small and delicate, continue to sing even in troubled worlds. Their voices were chosen as a reminder that life persists in gentle ways. Imagine waking to the soft chirping of sparrows outside your window, the first light filtering through paper screens, the world still wrapped in peaceful calm. Fact 136. The character of Gyomei, with his beads and prayers, was inspired by temple monks who find strength through reflection rather than aggression. His tears, often misunderstood by new readers, symbolize the depth of his compassion, emotion moving through him like water through stone. Gotouge wanted Guillaume to be a figure of profound sensitivity, a reminder that the strongest hearts are often the softest. Imagine a stone statue beneath falling rain, water tracing gentle paths down its surface, carrying whispers of devotion across its silent form. Fact 137. The motif of quiet blessings appears in gestures that may seem small but carry deep emotional meaning. Tanjiro offering warm tea, Shinobu covering someone with a blanket, Rengoku placing a comforting hand on a stranger's shoulder. Gotuji believed that kindness thrives in the unnoticed details. These moments were crafted to feel like soft lights glowing in the corners of the story. Imagine someone draping a warm shawl around your shoulders on a chilly night, the gesture simple but filled with unspoken warmth. Fact 138. The way characters pause to breathe, deeply, slowly, intentionally, mirrors the story's central belief that breath shapes the heart. These pauses often happen before emotional revelations, in moments of fear, or after long stretches of struggle. The breath becomes a grounding force, reminding them of their humanity. Gotuj wanted these moments to feel almost meditative. Imagine taking a slow inhale, your chest expanding gently, and then exhaling all tension in a long, quiet stream, like fog lifting from a valley at dawn. Fact 139. The sun, though dangerous to demons, is drawn with immense tenderness in the series. Its rising light is golden, soft, and restorative, a symbol of renewal rather than destruction. Gotuj shaped the sun as a quiet guardian, watching over the world with gentle warmth. When dawn breaks after a long night, it's written like a blessing, the sky shifting from indigo to pale blue, then to a warm orange glow that touches rooftops and treetops alike. Imagine watching sunrise from a hill, the first rays brushing your skin like a parent's soft hand on your cheek. Fact 140. Perhaps the softest truth in all of Demon Slayer is the belief that love, in all its forms, lingers long after loss. Gotuj shaped the story so that even when characters pass on, their love continues to guide, comfort, and warm those who remain. Memories are treated not as wounds, but as lanterns carried gently through darkness. Love becomes breath, becomes wind, becomes light. Imagine holding a small lantern in your palms as night settles around you, its flame steady, warm, and unwavering, a quiet reminder that nothing loved is ever truly gone. Thank you, dear listener, for drifting with me through this quiet journey of 140 softly glowing facts about Demon Slayer. As we come to the end of our long, gentle wander, let your breath settle into an easy rhythm, slow on the inhale, softer on the exhale. Imagine all the warmth, compassion, and tender moments we explored tonight, lingering around you like lantern light, faint, steady, comforting. You've traveled through quiet forests, moonlit mountains, warm hearths, and soft memories. You've walked beside kind hearts, listened to gentle voices, and felt the hush of a world painted in calm colors. Let those images cradle you now, like a blanket pulled up over tired shoulders at the end of a long day. And as you sink slowly into rest, may your dreams be warm, your heart unburdened, and your night filled with tenderness. Thank you for spending this time here in this soft, peaceful space. Sleep deeply, sleep safely, sleep well. Good night.